Hi, it's time for our proportions and percents workout number 6. So let's check out our problem today. It says Daniel filled up his tank and then drove 300 miles. When he filled up his tank, it took 16 gallons. How many miles per gallon is Daniel averaging? Okay, so Ted thought it took 16 gallons times the mileage rate to go 300 miles. So 16 times some number equals 300. Fill in the ratio table and show a way that Ted might have solved the problem. Okay, so here's our rate right here, right? Here's our unit rate of 1, okay? And this is the 16 gallons, okay? And so we're going to go ahead and see when we get up to 300 what that makes our answer, okay? So I started by multiplying by 10. And so 10 times 1 is 10, and 10 times 16 is 160. Trying to get to 300, and so I doubled it again. So I doubled it again, and I got 20. And then when I doubled 160, I got 320, because I know that if I double 16, I get 32, and then my 0 just carries over. Okay, so 320. Now, remember, my target number is 300, so I have gone above my target number. Okay, so I need to take some away. And so I'm going to use this rate right here of 1 and 16. So if I subtract the 1 and the 16, and I'm going to write them right here so that you can see what I'm doing. Then I'm subtracting to get my value in my new column. So 20 minus 1 gives us 19. And 320 minus 16 gives me 304, because I'm not even worried about the 300, and 20 minus 16 gives me 4. So now I'm at 304, and I want to be at 300. So I need to take away, right? So what I did was I actually went right here, and I know, so I'm either looking at this one or the 1 and 16, but I know I can make a 16 a 4, and that's what I need, because I need to take away a 4 by dividing by 4. So if I divide 16 by 4, I get the 4 that I need. And then if I divide 1 by 4, I get 0.25, or I get 1/4, okay? Because there are 4 quarters in a dollar, that type of thinking. I'm going to grab my green pen again and show you. So now here I can subtract the 4. 304 minus 4 equals 300. So now I have found my target number along the bottom. And then I have to subtract here. And so $19 minus 25 cents leaves me $18.75. And so Daniel got 18.75 miles to the gallon. Okay. Now that was how Ted solved it. Now let's see what Gabriella did. So Gabriella thought, that's 16 gallons for 300 miles. I'll use equivalent ratios. Now, you know that I prefer equivalent ratios, and I'll show you why here, because I'm going to get to my answer, I think, more efficiently, but it's probably 6 one, half a dozen of the other, right? So I'm trying to get 16 down to my target number of 1. So I can have my unit rate. 16 gallons got us 300 miles. We want to know what 1 gallon will get us. And so normally, if you looked right here, when we use proportional reasoning, you would set up these two fractions right here, and you would cross multiply and divide. What we're going to do is an expanded ratio table where you don't need to cross multiply and divide. You can actually calculate it across. So I'm going to cut it in half first. So 16 divided by 2 is 8, and 150 is half of 300. So there's my start. I'm going to keep going again. Half of 150 is 75, and half of 8 is 4. So I'm getting pretty close. I'm going to half again. So that gets me to 2. Half of 75 is 37.5. I just know this because I do a lot of math problems. Um, and so there's that. And then I'm going to divide again. So I'm going to divide again. Um, so I'm going to divide this in half. And so notice I have half of 50 cents, and then I have half of 37, and it actually ends up being $18.75. We know that because that's the answer that we got in our first ratio table up here. Okay, so it just depends on the numbers, how you like them, whether these decimals bother you, dividing, this might have been easier. So remember, you have 2 strategies that get you to the answer. And so it's just a matter of what the numbers are doing and how they are patterning that makes more sense to you. So you might start it this way and you might start it that way. And if you start struggling, then flip it and try the other strategy. Okay, that's my challenge to you. All right. So, how many gallons does Daniel need to drive 450 miles? So, let's start with miles on top. I'm just going to put an M for miles and I'm going to put a G for gallons. I'm going to start with the rate they gave me, which is 300 to 16, because that's the information that I had in the problem. And I want a target number of 450 on top and 75. Well, we've already done 75 once, okay? So we've done 75 once, and so, but we could get to it pretty easily, okay? And so I'm gonna do, go to 450 first, and I'm gonna do that by taking half of 300, which gives me my 150, and then half of 16 is 8. Now, once I'm here, I'm going to add 300 and 150 to reach my target of 450 miles. And that means I'm going to have to add the bottom portion that corresponds, and that gives me 24. So 24 gallons, I can go 450 miles. Now, to get to the 75, right, that's half of my 150. And so I could just go right here. Half of 150 is 75, and then half of 8 is 4. And so it takes 4 gallons to travel 75 miles. Write the proportion. You can write the proportion however you want. It would have been, you could have done 300 to 16 over 450 and X, however you want to do that. And then let's look and see how many miles can Daniel drive with 12 gallons. So I'm going to do miles on the top, gallons on the bottom. Again, I'm going to start with the given ratio because we are assuming that we are using this as our first strategy. Trying to get to 12 gallons. And so I really quickly know that I can, so 300 divided by 2 is going to give me 150 over 8. Once I have 150 over 8, then I can go to half again, which is 4 and 75. And then if you'll notice, 8 plus 4 gives me 12. So I do the 8 plus 4 equals 12. And then 150 plus 75 equals 225. So he can travel 225 miles on 12 gallons, and then you can write the proportion. So that's it, guys. So these two were, I thought, the easier of the 4 questions, just because we were dealing with nice whole numbers. But remember, the rate was exactly the same. So just because I ended up getting into decimals here does not necessarily mean that I would always end up with decimals in the math when I was using it to solve. All right, that's it for today. I will see you again next time for workout number 7.